Thank you, Francine. Thank you to Loretta, the entire board, and most importantly, all the delegates in this hall and guests. I am the president of North America's Building Trades Unions, and I bring you greetings from my board, which consists of 14 international unions, and the presidents that sit on my board, and also my Secretary-Treasurer, Brent Booker. So the first question, now that Randy's given a brief explanation, is what is the president of the building trades doing at the AFT convention? Why am I here? Well, I'm here to do something that rarely these days do you hear from anybody in this country. I'm here to say thank you. I'm here to say thank you for the commitment of the AFT in reclaiming the dream. I'm here to say thank you to Randy and your leadership for taking the time to get to know the building trades, what it is, what it's not, what it does well, what it doesn't do as good as it should. And just to give you an idea, I represent 3 million men and women in the United States and Canada from 14 different unions. And one of the preeminent things we do is we recruit and train, not dissimilar from the American Federation of Teachers, generations of craft workers. We operate 1,600 training centers in the United States. We have $1 billion of funding, private sector funding, that pays for that training. And at our peak, before what many refer to as a recession in the construction industry, it was a depression in 2008, we had 270,000 students in our training programs across the United States. If we were a K through 12 school district, we would be the 6th largest school district in the United States. If we were a state university system, we'd be the 3rd largest in the United States after University of California and SUNY New York, 5 times the size of Ohio State. Education, once you get them through high school and then through community college and sometimes through with their bachelor's, we get them. And then we teach them the skill crafts in our training centers, the skill sets that last them a lifetime, the skill sets that keep them in the middle class for 2 generations. And we recruit women, minorities, and veterans. We work in every major city and every small hamlet in all 50 states in the United States. And just like the AFT, a union of professionals, our moniker is pride, performance, and professionalism, and value on display every day. That's what you get when you hire Union Construction Crafts. Now, we have spent a lot of time and investment in rebranding, and I know you know how difficult it is because nobody has suffered more with the misbranding of the quality professionals of the American Federation of Teachers over the last half a decade or so than you have. But you're winning. You're winning that rebranding effort, just like we're winning our rebranding effort. And combined, the building trades and the American Federation of Teachers are showing the way forward of how to bring value, how to explain the value that you bring to taxpayers, to children, to parents, to the education system in the United States. You're winning. It might not seem like you're winning, but you're winning. It's a long, hard slog. And all I could say is with your leadership team, we will continue to stick with you until we get that message firmly and rooted across the United States in every city and town. Now, as you fight, we fight. And as you lead in education, the building trades defers to the American Federation of Teachers to tell us what is the proper education policy for this country, just like we will tell you how to build a building or wire this hall. We believe you are the experts. We know you are the experts. And the biggest thing that Randy talked about is you invest, we work. Now, a point of personal privilege. I went to Catholic school. And aside from my father, the man that had the most influence on me was a guy named Father Breen. He was my history teacher and government teacher in high school. And he's 92 years old and still kicking. and he had a unique way of teaching, but he spent a lot of time on World War II. And that's where this equation that Randy briefly mentioned and never takes enough credit for, or you get enough credit for. But while we were in the throes of that depression, while we had 25% unemployment amongst our members on average across the United States, in some states in excess of 50% unemployment, families devastated, healthcare gone, unemployment exhausted, homes being foreclosed, talented, hardworking individuals with no opportunity to ply their craft. You remember there was no money. When I got the chance to talk to Randy about that, while you were in the midst, and continue to be, in a battle in cities and states across this country with incoming fire at good, hardworking, dedicated teachers from coast to coast. As I told Randy that story, she wanted to do something about it. And being a little bit of a history buff, I equate it to, and I'm sure there's a few history teachers in the audience, so they'll correct me when I get some of these facts wrong. In World War II, in 1944, when the 101st Airborne was totally surrounded and overmatched at Bastogne, General Patton was engaged 100 miles to the south in full-out battle and said, "Give me 48 hours, I'll disengage, I'll move my army to Bastogne, and I'll free those brave Americans." And he did it. While the AFT is in pitched battle in 2010, 2011, 2012, Randy maintained her battles and started to look after what could put building trades men and women back to work, which culminated in that initial $10 billion that she spoke of that we raised. And I'm proud to say, and on behalf of those 3 million people, Randy, that they're starting to go back to work. Because of the investment, the time, the understanding, because you listened, because you learned, because you planned, because you worked in partnership, building tradespeople across this country who don't know Randy, but I do, but know that the AFT, in our darkest hour, because it's easy to be somebody's friend when the sun's shining, and let me tell you, we were in hurricane gale force winds. You stepped up, you stood up, you found a way to leverage your assets, your strength, to make investments in our infrastructure to put the construction professionals that I represent back to work. And that's why I'm here to say thank you. So I hope you all know, as Randy and Francine and Loretta know, that you can count on the building trades. When you're in a fight, wherever it is in this country, we're a phone call away. Like Randy said, when we have these fights in different states, it was our men and women. Fortunately, they didn't have to take off from work at the time because they didn't have a job, who were manning the barricades in Madison and Columbus. And we'll be there every time, everywhere, and in every way you need us. So once again, thank you, Randy. Thank you to the AFT. We greatly appreciate it.